like it did yesterday. So yeah, it's a Wednesday with a difference, and that's just one of it. Today is Ash Wednesday as well, and that's also another part of the difference about today as a Wednesday. All right, and so our Catholic brethren have started the Lent season. So that's happening. Today is Ash Wednesday. I already said that. Okay, so today on the show, I would like us to talk about something that most times people really don't talk about it, because it's almost like it's not really an issue until it becomes an issue, and then someone somewhere will start thinking, why didn't I? And then in some other cases, you find out that could be somebody's saving grace, right? You don't even know what I'm about to talk about. I don't even know what I'm saying, right? But it's all good. My name is Constance Omega. Okay, so we were talking about receipts. You know, on social media these days, people will say, I have receipts. I have receipts. We'll show you your receipts. But the basic thing about a receipt, or the basic definition of what a receipt is, it's a paper. It's okay. It might not necessarily be a paper, because these days you get e-receipts. All right. So it's more like an acknowledgement that you get as a seller from the buyer after you have paid for goods or services. So it's a written acknowledgement. It's to show that yes, we had this deal with you. This transaction happened. We acknowledge that you patronized us. You did not steal it. That's why we have a receipt for you. But then many people actually do not bother with collecting their receipts after they've made a purchase, except maybe in big supermarkets where you can't really help it, because security requires to see your receipts before you're going to be allowed to leave the supermarket with what you have bought. So that's like the only time some people would actually accept a receipt. They feel like, I've paid for it, so that's it. I don't need your receipt. I don't need any proof. I'm pretty sure that you and I know that a transaction happened. I did not steal this thing from your shelf. I paid for it. I've given you the money for it. So let me just carry my stuff and be going. And of course, we have a lot of shops where receipts are not issued. Yeah, we have those shops. Like, you want to go and buy sugar in some kiosk around the corner, you'll not be asking for a receipt that what happened. Or you buy bread, they should not give you receipts that you are who. What matters is that you have paid, and so they give you what you bought. So that's usually what happens. Actually, receipts are just useless. That paper they just give you. So the moment they get, some of them actually leave it with security. You know, those guys that stand there to wait for you, and then they want to look at the receipt and then be sure that it tallies with what you have in your bag. Although they really do not do that kind of 100% search to find out, but they just believe that whatever is inside that bag is what we have on this receipt. And so the moment they hand it over to the security person, that's it. They're not collecting it back. They just leave it there. But some people will collect it and they will squeeze it and trash it, and that's it. But then there are people who prioritize receipts. They must get a receipt. There are people who actually document their receipts. There are people who have a pile. They have somewhere they put receipts for whatever. I don't know what they're doing with those. It's weird, right? But there are people like that. But then, how important are receipts, especially for non-electronic items? Because usually people are diligent about getting their receipts when it's an electronic item that they're buying, because let me police know that you for road before you start proving that the refrigerator you're carrying is actually not stolen, or the television set you want to go and repair, or that you're carrying, that you paid for it, and all that stuff. So usually it is when people get electronics that they stay and ensure they get a receipt. In fact, so people actually stay, like they're very, very conscious of it when it comes to electronic devices. But for every other thing, they don't really care that much. I got a couple of beverages from a store. Why do I need a receipt? What am I doing with the receipt? But then you might need the receipt for various purposes. I don't know if you've ever gone to a supermarket, and by the time they were done calculating and then they told you the price, you looked at the receipt when you were done paying, and you're seeing that I did not buy this one now. What's this thing? It has happened to me, not once, not twice. It's happened to me. Because I look at my receipt while I'm still standing there. I do not wait till I've gone home. I look at the receipts to ensure that what's on the receipt tallies with the items I have been given. And sometimes you find out that even maybe something you paid for was not even included in what was packaged for you. And so just looking at the receipt, you can see that, you didn't put the detergent now. I thought I brought detergent here. Where is it? And then they will remember. I've had them put something that is not mine, something I did not pick, and they packaged it, and I'm seeing it in my receipts, on the receipts they issued to me. I've also had a situation where an item I got just one was recorded as ×2, and so meaning I had to pay for 2 items, whereas I got just one. On one of such occasions, as I saw it, I had to call their attention, and I ended up having to get the extra one. Because the young man was like, I've already done all the calculations and everything. It's already in my system. Please just get an extra one. So, do you prioritize your receipt after a transaction? Now, I put this question this way because I want the question to not just capture the buyer. I want it to also capture the seller, because there are also supermarkets or businesses, you go to, and the people are so intentional about issuing you a receipt. While there are others where they're not so intentional about issuing you a receipt. They feel like, deal done, dusted, you can go now. Have a nice day. Until maybe you now ask them, where is the receipt now? So do you prioritize your receipt after a transaction? So by prioritizing it is, first of all, do you ensure you get a receipt? Second of all, after you've gotten the receipt, do you look at your receipt, or do you just take it and that's it? Do you take a time to look at your receipt to be sure that what was stated there is what you got, or the things stated there are the things you got? So that's the conversation we're having right now. Welcome aboard. We're talking the value of receipts. I would like to hear from you. Let's hear from you. Put a call through now. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0007. And also, if you have had any experience where maybe after you've gone home, after you've really left the place, you now discovered that, I paid extra, or I underpaid because they didn't capture everything in the receipt. Please do well to share as well. I'd like to hear from you. Send me a message via WhatsApp to 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. Hello, welcome aboard. What's your name?
Constant Mega, I greet you.
I greet you too, sir.
Amadi Patrick, I'm calling from Eche.
All right, Mr. Madi, go on.
If I prioritize my receipt, it may affect me, and it will also affect the owner, the place where I buy that market, with the foreign reason. Okay. It may be that the item I bought, that person has told it to me, make a mistake, and that mistake may affect her. But she will not be aware that she has put in more than what she recorded in that receipt, which I paid for. So it is important for me to look the receipt that they are giving to me and go through it. If what I paid for is what is being given to me, it will help me and it also help the customer where I bought the market from. So very, very important for me to disclose the receipt I have written so that we will correct where mistake is. Because I have seen a situation where I went to buy something, what they require for me that I paid for, the good inside that packet play is bigger than what I paid for.
Oh, wow.
If I did not disclose the receipt, it will affect the good. So it's
Okay, your line is breaking now. Thank you for calling, though. Muriel from Okrika. Good afternoon, ma'am. Go on. Hello, Muriel.
Hello, Auntie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. You know, coincidentally, I and my colleagues were talking about how she was just narrating how she went to a supermarket and one of these big supermarkets, and as she was just buying, she was about to get to the counter where she would pay, and one of these guys, our boys that wears big jeans and big shirts, just came and filled up 2 trolleys with goods. They were just packing, the two of them were just packing and packing. Maybe they want to restock. And when they got to the counter, the cashier decided to attend to the other guys first. So she was just sitting patient because she wanted to see the end. She didn't bother to complain. So after all the long receipts, that she wanted to issue to the guy, she realized that she just knew that the kind of money the cashier mentioned should be more. And these guys didn't even bother. Just stretched out his card and then took and maybe added something for her and left. So when it was her own turn, the cashier now added 1 wine and 1 soap to her own bill that she did not. So when she looked at her own, she had to go through the receipt. And she said, please, the amount was too big because as she's buying, she's calculating. She's just a civil servant, so she doesn't have much. As she's buying, she's calculating. She's calculating, know how much she wants to spend. So when the money exceeded that amount, she now told the cashier, please, what did you put? How much is that money? The cashier, sorry, this wine. Because of this parcel, she said she immediately wanted, because she was already paid for the delay. So she wanted to see the manager. She was angry. She now pleaded. So receipts, most times, some people think that when these big supermarkets give you receipts, they cannot do anything to you. They cannot undo. Trust me, they become so smart. And one of our colleagues was asking that, then how will it happen? This money is going directly to the owner of the business supermarket account. So how will you then get the excess? How can you manipulate things? And the one of guys that say, they don't know, but they started doing this thing. They can overcharge you, add more, and later still get back. So receipts, most times, I just collect for the fact that maybe you have to each present it at the exit door. And because if otherwise, I don't really place. I go ahead to insist that I calculate 1 or 2 before I leave. After when you leave the market, the receipts are useless. Except maybe it's for a product, maybe television, all those long-lasting products that maybe when you want to move them from one point to the other, you need receipts. Even if it's in your car, if you stop at a checkpoint, they will ask for you. Even if it's sometimes 5 years, you are moving, to another location to reside. They will also ask for the receipt of that switch of that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for calling, Muriel. Wow. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're going to learn a couple of things in the course of this conversation, because right now it's now occurring to me that sometimes some of those excesses, some of those extra charges or extra items that are added to your items, they're not necessarily a mistake. It wasn't an error. It wasn't an oversight. Someone did it on purpose. So they get you to pay for an item that they plan to take later. I've catch you people. All right, so we're still talking about the value of receipts, and I'm asking if you prioritize your receipt after a transaction, whether as a buyer or a seller. Now, for the sellers also, there's also another aspect of the receipts that you issue, because sometimes someone might buy something from you and just leaving the shop, they realize that there was a fault with what they just got. I believe that a receipt should be one of the proofs that it can tender to show that I got this thing from your shop. And so the problem that I see, or that you and I can see right now, is from your shop. And so the first, if we're having a conversation, the very first thing we should be discussing is, okay, where's the receipt for this item? Especially for non-perishables. Where's the receipts? Let's see. Let's be sure that you got this from us. And another thing is that if the receipt, right, does not have anything that shows on the item, like when I get a receipt from a particular shop, and then I show that, okay, let's say I got a detergent, and we all know that the brands, they're all over the place. So I get a particular popular brand of detergent from this shop, and they issue me a receipt. And I return it to say, oh, I got this from you, and I just realized that it is torn, it was leaking as I left. So I would need you to change it for me. How can they be sure that I got it from them? How can they tell that it's not something that I had maybe in my car or I had in my house, and I wanted to change that one because of for whatever the reason might be? So if you are a seller, a trader, a business person, someone who deals in all those goods, especially goods, talk to me about that. Do you have any kind of why am I missing the words? But it's more like a proof. That's what I'm saying. All right. You have something that is impaired. Don't worry, I remember the English word I'm thinking right now. Oh my goodness me, it just came and left. Okay, but what I'm looking at is something that shows that this receipt is proof that this item is from our shop. That's what I'm asking for. So as a seller, tell me. And then one of the things they do back then in Onitsha, I'm sure they still do it at main market, is that they would always have that caveat under somewhere at the tail end of the receipt that whatever items you have paid for cannot be returned. Very crazy stuff. That's not the way they put it, but I'm just paraphrasing. Do you also have that on your receipts? Now, if you pay for an item or if you pay for some items and then you get a receipt and looking at the receipt, you're seeing that they are non-refundable, you cannot be refunded. How does that make you feel about going back to buy things from that place? From that same shop? Annie from Obunabali. Oh, wow. Welcome.
Annie, not Annie.
Okay, Annie. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, the reason that you're just saying that, for me, I like going to the market to buy something.
Okay.
But
Ogao, please do well to call back. Thank you very, very much. All right, let me see. I've got a couple of messages here. All right. Good afternoon. I only need receipts when I'm buying something durable or expensive. Or how do one get back a lost receipt for electronic items, especially when one cannot remember the date? Your name is Jacob. Jacob, I'm not the Holy Spirit. Oh my God. What is your name? When you're sending me a message, please include your name, okay? I mean, what we're discussing doesn't need someone to say, let me remain anonymous, unless you want to call out any particular shop where you know that the sales reps are always in the business of ripping customers off with extra charges, okay? But please include your name in your SMS, your text, whether on WhatsApp, especially WhatsApp actually. As them they calculate, bring out your own calculator. I go live for you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Nas is your name. All right. Good afternoon, Mega. How important are receipts? I prioritize receipts whenever it has to do with electronics, household furniture, or any other item I know that the receipts by omission or commission might be demanded for today or tomorrow. Anything outside this, count me out. I can't buy provision, fill a gas or some clothing and you are issuing me a receipt. Where am I going to use it? For the electronics and other valuable items I purchase, I have a drawer for them. That helps me keep them safe. I rest my case. Myrtle Anunobi Onyekachi. Casey. Anunobi Onyekachi. I hope tomorrow you're not going to add your home address, your date of birth, because what's all this? Okay, thank you very much. So do you prioritize receipts? How important are they to you? Now, and at the point of purchase, all right, do Do you look at the receipt before you leave the shop? Are you in that business of ensuring that you look at the receipt to just make sure that what you have paid for is the same thing you bought, or the things you have paid for are the same things they have packaged for you? Are you like that? Or are you one of those who just take the receipt and off you go? You do not check. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name?
Good afternoon.
Turn off your radio set. What's your name?
My radio set is off. Can you hear me?
Okay. Are you driving?
Okay, let me step.
I caught him red-handed. He said, "Oh, what are you thinking? If you're driving, you know you're driving." And he was not using hands-free. That's why. All right. So let's hear from you. But please, when you're calling in, ensure that you're not driving. Don't drive and make calls. It's not good unless you're using hands-free. Okay, very important. And also, when you're calling in, ensure that you're not walking along the road, or you want to cross the road, and then you have phone on your ear. Hello, Nigeria Info. Mega, I want to put my voice to what you're discussing. My dear, remember to no jam you. Yeah? Thank you. So please be safe, first of all. Thank you. All right. Someone says it's sign and stamp on items. Okay. They do have signs and they have stamps on items. All right. Thank you very much. That's a response to the question I was asking about, proof. For when someone returns an item and they come with a receipt, the receipt you have issued them, and then the item in question. How do you tally? How do you ensure that they tally, that what the person is showing as the item they bought from your shop is the same, actually came from your shop? There are people that actually do not have any sign, they don't have any stamp, there's nothing on the items. They just give you a receipt, and so you can go and come back and buy from another shop and come and say, you people gave me so see what you gave me, is spoiled too. The sausage I bought was not good. It have spoiled. So how do we know that you actually got this one from our shop? All right. Okay, so I have Wellington. Wellington, where is Wellington calling from? I'm gonna get that pretty soon. Most printout receipts usually wipe out at the long run. So when the need arises, it is difficult to present it. So I prioritize only valuable receipts. Oh, okay. You said the printout ones, they wipe out in the long run. But I don't think they give those kind of receipts for items that you would require to tender a receipt as proof tomorrow, like the electronics. I mean, who's giving you a printout? You can actually reject it, because why are you giving me a printout for that kind of item? Wellington from Okrika. Oh my goodness, that happened. All right, Wellington, please do well to call back. Thank you. It's very necessary to examine your receipt before payment to avoid fraudulent activities from the cashiers. Fidelis Ihani Elemowa from Chokocho, Eche. All right, so you talk to me now. I'd like to hear from you. Do you prioritize receipts? Do you see them as important? Or do you just take a walk and you don't care? You don't really take out time to look at the receipts again. And then is it there's this thing Nigerians also do, right? They're quick to feel that the person who is prudent is akagom. But there's a difference. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. If I'm the kind of person who actually looks at the receipt to be sure that what I've paid for is what I'm getting value for my money. Some people will be looking at you weird. Yeah. Some people won't even want to hear you say something like that. They feel like, is it just because of, can't you just leave it? They forget that if it happens to one person, it could happen to much more people. It's not just about you at that point in time. It could happen to other people. Just like Muriel shared with us about her friend who went to buy something from a big supermarket, and because some big guy, spending, entered the building, spending, entered the building. And then by the time spending and his crew left, they added wine on her receipt. And she didn't buy any wine. And now if she hadn't looked, she would have paid for a bottle of wine that she never took home. Oh, and guess what? The sales rep is going to get the wine because that's what she wanted. And just pointing it out, someone else, oh, it's a mistake. Yeah, better get it out. So do you look at your receipts while you're still there before you leave? Elder Bright, good afternoon, sir. I'm pretty sure if you were listening, Dennis must have said it. She not just must have. I heard her say she was going to be away for a very long time before she actually went away. There's something called leave, and there are different kinds of leave. Yeah, so think about the one that could make someone stay for too long away from work. That's the kind of leave she's on. Good afternoon, Constance. You see, I never really cared about receipts until I got married. So one day I went to this big supermarket. I got some things and showed it to the guys at the door and left. One thing just said, put it in your pocket. When I got home, my wife asked me for it and I showed her, and she said, these guys have cited an oversight function on your receipt. I was like, how? She showed me and I saw that they added 2 wines, let's say 2 bottles of wine and 1 soap. At once, the worry boy in me came out. I went back, made some noise, and they gave me my money back. Hallelujah. Oh my God. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, I bought iPad and I got a printout, but when it got bad, I took it to the shop and they asked for the receipt. I presented it, but nothing to show because it has wiped out. Oh. Wow. Okay, so part of prioritizing the receipt, I guess now, is that if you're going to get a receipt for an item that's durable like this, something that is supposed to last for a very long time, then nobody should give you a printout. If you're getting a printout, you should ask them to get pen and paper and write something. They should write something on that same receipt. Because it might wipe out. Imagine getting a laptop and the place where you bought it from, they're giving you printouts. Or a television set. Are you playing here? For Jacob, how to get a lost receipt. Go back to the seller. He should have a carbon copy of your original receipt in his invoice booklet. Have an understanding with him. He will issue you a new receipt after tracing back to the date and time of your purchase and certifying that you really purchased the item or items from him. Anunobi KC. I don't reduce my name. Oh, thank you, sir. Hello. All right, last call for now. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. What's your name?
Can you hear me now, Wellington?
All right, Wellington, go on.
See, let me tell you, those people at the counter, they know what they are doing. They know with the manager of that superstore. They know when they give you receipt and they overbill you, stand there, tell them to do your transfer back. Otherwise, they should give you the money cash.
Oh.
They will do it. They know at the end of the day, they take record of stock. Each counter has his record of stock, what they have sold. If they lost, they know who lost. So if they make profit, they know who make profit. They know who is on which counter. They know. I'm a victim, and I told them, the moment I raise my voice, I will make sure you don't stay here again.
All right, we have to go. Apologies. Let's go for the news. We'll be back.